What's going on, everybody? I am JT, your host of JT Invests in You, and today we have a great guest joining our channel. We have the CEO of Folks Finance, and Folks Finance is a capital lending market that just hit Algorand's testnet. So I'm super excited to have this conversation, super excited to get some questions answered, and hopefully get some of your questions answered. For anyone listening, if you have any questions for either myself or our guest today, just leave them in the chat and we will get to those. So without further ado, let me introduce Benedetto, the CEO of Folks Finance. How you doing?
Hello, I'm good. What about you, JT? Thanks for having me here, and nice to talk with everyone lively.
I'm doing great. I appreciate you coming on the show, and I appreciate you taking the time to answer my questions today. So
You're welcome.
before we begin, how about you could just tell my audience a little bit more about yourself and how you got into the blockchain space.
Yes. So I am an engineer. When I graduated, I just began to work in Blockchain Italia, which is a software house, and I just had this interest over crypto. So for me, it was the perfect space. And now it's 3 years of experience as project manager. Then when Folks Finance came, I was just promoted to be the CEO, and I'm so happy. My girlfriend not so much because I have not free time anymore.
Yeah, I could imagine. I mean, anything in this space, even just trying to keep up with the news, consumes a lot of time. So I could imagine, building a project or being the CEO of a project is quite time consuming. Could you just give us a little bit of info on what Folks Finance is? I know it's a lending protocol, but could you tell us, what makes it different than any, other protocols?
Yes, of course. So I would like to give you how we arrived to this. So as I said, I work for Blockchain Italia, which is between the 12 first global partner of Algorand. We begin to invest and use this technology over almost 3 years ago. And when we saw that DeFi was being built on Algorand, at that time there was just a tiny man being built and Yieldly. We were like, okay, we have the knowledge, and what's the best project for building on Algorand and leveraging the layer? And we were like, a capital markets protocol definitely can be a best option, and it was missing. So it was November 2020 when we began the design, and we applied for the Algorand Europe Accelerator. At this time, it was called Algorand, and we had the timeline that was 3 months, and we had to arrive to a demo day with a live product. So our main task at this time, it was to copy what it was being done in other ecosystem, mostly Aave and Compound, in order to arrive with this working product for the demo day. And in 3 months, it was extremely difficult, but we did. It was something that we could put on testnet. But once we arrived at this, we were like, okay, this is being done in a lot of ecosystem where just you can copy and paste Ethereum smart contract in an easy way. But the thing that on Algorand we couldn't do this, it forced us to write everything from scratch. And still the ecosystem, it wasn't ready at that time. So we decided to take a step before, and we was like, okay, let's try to make things better than the others. So we understand weaknesses that there were in traditional lending protocol, and we tried to build a new version. I don't know, if you tried our testnet, you could see that we want to make the loan for the user as much as a game. You can add collateral, you can reduce collateral, you can partial repay, you can full repay, you can do many things, and many will come that it hasn't been showed yet. Right now, you see only the deposit and the borrow feature available, but we have 3 more to add, main one. I won't spoil it, but there, for example, you can see staking, which is connected to our governance token, the rewards aggregator, which is a very interesting one, and you will love it because it contains collaboration with other Algorand protocols. But also we have done some work that you maybe can't see in the interface, but is on the back. For example, we have smart contract for each crypto pair, and we have covariation parameter between each crypto because let's do a practical example. If you are depositing our governance token as a collateral, folks, and you are borrowing algo, they became from the same ecosystem. So both reflects the algo fluctuation, the algo ecosystem influences. So we understand that these can influence the loan to value that we give for this loan. So all the parameters in our protocol, they are based both on the collateral and the borrowed assets, which is pretty unique and make it very flexible because we can do easily crypto pairs such as real tokenized assets and USDC. Just we can customize the smart contract at the need.
Now, the testnet went live a couple days ago. How's that going so far?
Great. Really, it was not totally unexpected, but if you've seen, we had over 10,000 depositors in 2 days, which for me is great. Like the numbers on the Explorer when we just went live was doubling on the Algo Explorer. You can check it, and just so great feedbacks. Obviously, it's testnet. Some little bugs came ahead, but we already planned the solution for this. For example, there is a bug that it's when you are borrowing all the maximum that you can compare it to what you are locking as a collateral. And this, it fails when the price update is being done while you borrow and the collateral value is slightly decreased. So the smart contract simply doesn't allow you to do it. But we already have a new design of the borrow model that will solve this. So this was the main one that mostly was found, but overall the feedbacks are great. Also, we had many users trying a protocol on the Algorand for the first time, new user for Algorand, and it was so happy for us that we were also helping the ecosystem to grow, just growing on testnet. And we had like our community 2,000 before on Discord, and now we passed 5,000. It's just 2 days.
Yeah, and of course, when you started, as you said, there wasn't a lending protocol on Algorand yet. And since then, AlgoFi has gone live, which is another borrowing and lending protocol. And I think it's great because, competition in this space really creates innovation. So I think it's actually great to have multiple lending protocols, just like we're about to have multiple decentralized exchanges. So, the way I see it, the more the merrier. And I've played around with your testnet. It's very intuitive. It's super easy to understand. It's not it's not complex at all. I could totally see how a new user could just log on and use it, even never using an application before, and really find it very easy. So far, I'm enjoying what you have going so far. When would you imagine you would be live on Mainnet?
So the testnet is meant to test. So we have our smart contract ready. They shouldn't be updated, but we have 2 audits going on. Actually, we have done 3. One is concluded, and we will publish the report next week. And we have 2 more ongoing. We want to ensure soundness of the protocol as much as we can. But we never know. If one bug came, we have to change, maybe fix something, and still we will need to test a bit. But indeed, everything is ready. Just to show the other pages that is missing on the front end at, I hope, maximum 2 months.
Perfect. And the loans that are on the loans that you can get, those are over collateralized loans, correct?
Correct.
What is the over collateralization rate?
It's variate for, as I said, we establish parameters for each crypto pair. Mm-hmm. So, for example, other protocol, they have a collateralization rate based on the collateral, obviously. We do based on collateral and what you're borrowing. So it can vary. Even now, we set some test parameter because ongoing there are tests. We collaborate with a company which is experienced on economics research over crypto. They worked before with synthetics. And we are doing this test together. So they suggest parameter, we test, then we try new ones, we test. At the end of the testnet, we will have a full list of tests carried out, and we will decide what's between the safest and the most convenient for the protocol. But of course, we always have in mind as target to be secure and safe for the protocol and the users.
Perfect. And at what point does a liquidation happen? Does that vary between the assets as well?
Okay, I can explain, but I hope to not be too complex.
That's okay.
We have an health factor on the protocol that is basically the ratio between the under collateralization threshold and your borrow balance. It's slightly complex how we do this. This came from the research that we did over past lending protocols and our new view. But basically, when your health factor is 1, you are being liquidated. That's the simple way. Also, many operation can be done based on the value of your health factor. For example, if your health factor, now I don't remember if it arrives to 1.3, obviously it changed between crypto pairs, you can borrow again on your previous collateral.
Yeah, that makes sense. Awesome. So on testnet, you can currently utilize 4 assets to deposit as collateral. That'd be, I believe, USDC, Algo, USDT, and GoBTC. Is that correct?
Yes.
Are those the 4 assets that are going to be live as well, or will there be more assets once you go live?
So obviously we will add more on the testnet because also to see reaction and test more parameters. The mainnet as well is it's complex. We will begin with something little, then we ensure that this is okay, that we are all right with the liquidation. We will need the liquidation bots full speed and ensuring that everyone is safe. And then we will always add new pool. We have listing requirements for any asset. They are both economic and technical. With technical, I mean the same as always: no clawback, no freeze, no manager. And indeed, with economical, I mean there must be enough liquidity running on Algorand, must be a token that is not too volatile, because otherwise liquidation could happen so fast. And also there is one parameter that we take in consideration, that is the feasibility of being liquidated, because for some token is complex to get API from exchange. Maybe on decentralized exchange it costs too much to swap and then liquidate. So it's complex, but we always want to ensure the security and the soundness of the protocol.
Now, you had mentioned a governance token. How would the governance structure of Folks Finance work?
So we have some use cases at the launch of the governance token, which I will not anticipate you will see. But the governance right now is not going to be implemented at the launch. We have as first target to do it in 1 year after the token launch. But indeed, we will want our user to participate. We will ask for vote on our community, and still we will make them comfortable to feel to have our token. So we plan to have incentives for those who hold it and other use cases.
Awesome. Could you foresee a future where governance holders are maybe choosing which token to list next?
Of course. Yes, that's the target later, when based on the amount of the token that you have, you can vote on the active life of the protocol.
Awesome. And are there any long-term plans to turn it into a DAO?
Yes, yeah, of course. This is the plan of the fully decentralized governance.
Awesome. I know that's a big buzzword these days, but it is really important. I mean, you do see a lot of regulators in the space that kind of hint that the more decentralized your protocol is, the likely safer it is over time to be in terms of regulation. So I think it is certainly very important. Are there anything that I haven't asked yet that you'd like to mention to my audience before we try to see if the live audience has any questions?
Just because we spoke about the governance, I want to mention that the tokenomics that we designed address over the 50% of the token to the community. And the token will be distributed through incentive in the protocol on deposit and borrowing. Different how other protocol does, because this was also our one of our innovation. And you will see it. It's rewarding good users, let's say like this for now.
Perfect. Yeah, everyone likes to have a reward for using products, especially, early users. They are taking the risk of being, the first to use a product. So it is nice
Yeah.
it is certainly nice to get rewarded.
One thing that I can mention about rewarding users of the testnet, we have designed together with the one artist, which is pretty famous, our NFT collection, which is called the Foresee guys. You can look at it. I have a little preview on folkseeguys.io. And those will be distributed, a part of it, over those testers who will do the task that we request, because we need them to do what we asked for. As I was mentioning before, we have these strategic testnet plan. So at one point we will need to ask, for example, please deposit 10 USDC and borrow the full amount that you can. So yeah, this is.
Yeah, that's awesome. Now,
Yeah.
question, could you potentially foresee a future where users are able to supply NFTs as collateral to borrow against?
Yes, this is in our plan, and as I was mentioning before, the flexibility that has been used for our smart contract, it easily allows this. There is always a main problem with NFTs, that is who liquidates the loan in case the user doesn't repay their interest. So there must be an NFT liquidator, first of all, but it's feasible.
Yeah, I could foresee that being a difficult challenge, especially at least currently. I mean, most NFTs aren't the most liquid tokens out there, so a lot of them are just waiting for a buyer to come around and waiting a while. So, it's certainly an interesting concept. How about have you heard of Lofty AI before?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yes,
they
but this is different, and still, even that in this case, there must be always a liquidator that liquidates this token, whatever it is. It
of
is
course.
feasible to use as collateral, but at one point it must be liquidated.
Of course. Now, my next question is kind of tying into Lofty AI a little bit, because Lofty AI is a real estate platform which tokenizes real estate for people to invest in, and I'm wondering if there could be a future where we could also be supplying those tokens to borrow against, and I could foresee that at least. At least making more sense on how to value it because it's attached to the value of a property, whereas an NFT is a much more speculative asset that could be, half the price the next day.
I agree with you, and I see the future of lending protocol being like this. I just need this liquidator that I guess it can be even done in another way where people participate to the liquidation of those
Yeah.
assets, because if someone is willing to buy, someone is willing to liquidate anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. That is very true. Well, if anyone listening has any questions, feel free to drop them in the chat. I'm not seeing too many yet, so if there aren't any questions in the chat, we will wrap up a little sooner than intended, but that is obviously totally fine. I'm sure both of us have plenty of things to do. Uh, when do you think, actually, when do you think the audits will be done by so that the public can view the audits?
The first one, which is concluded, we plan to have released the next week. It will be done. It's runtime verification. I can say this because we already announced the first part of the review. and then we will make a blog post together with them, and we will just publish it. And there will be the public day report. They have a report for both design review, which we have done it before, and then we did the code audit.
Awesome. And is there a white paper out currently?
Not. We had before some paper that was explaining roughly how the protocol works.
Yeah.
But then after all the work of research that we have done, we have decided that we will publish research paper piece by piece that will explain the protocol and the features. One is being already written, that is like a light paper, a little explanation of the protocol and what the research carried out is about. And then there will be more feature-focused paper.
Awesome. Well, I appreciate you answering all my questions, and I'm going to test out testnet a little bit more because I was honestly having a little bit of fun playing around with it. It is just testnet money, so it's not incredibly,
But you must follow the task that our community manager will give on the Discord. Like this, you can earn the Foresee guy.
Oh, actually, yeah. While you're at it, you might as well plug all your social channels, your Discord, your Telegram, and let the audience know where they can, they can join the community.
I think there is a link tree everywhere. So if you follow on any of our pages, then you click on the link tree, and you can go on any channel that we have. Our Discord is the most active.
Perfect. And then in the description below, I have a link to Folks Finance. So anybody watching this video can click that link right now and check it out for yourself. And I appreciate you coming on the channel, Benedetto.
You're welcome. Whenever you want me, I'm here.
Awesome. How about we pencil something in for closer to mainnet?
Of course, I agree.
All right. We'll be in touch. I appreciate that.
Thank you very much, JT. It was a pleasure to talk with you.
No problem. Take care and good luck.
Bye-bye. Thank you.
Bye. All right, everyone. I appreciate everyone who watched and stayed to the end. That was my conversation with the CEO of Folks Finance. Folks Finance is a capital lending protocol built on top of Algorand. It will be in direct competition with AlgoFi, but I do believe more competition creates more innovation and is overall good for the space. So, I'm super excited. I wish them luck. And for anyone that hasn't checked out the testnet, definitely go and do so. And, like, subscribe, and make sure you catch me in the next one. Thanks. Bye.